Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're taking a look at the Aputure DEC adapter. This is basically an adapter and wireless follow focus in one. It's basically something that connects your Canon lenses to your Sony camera or Micro Four Thirds camera and gives you a wireless follow focus. So it controls the focus of the lens through the electronics. And I haven't tried it with many lenses, but as far as I know, it works best with the SDM lenses, the sort of newer lenses with the quiet motors. It does work with other lenses, just not as smooth and not as quiet. Here I've got the new 40mm from Canon, and this is actually available as a focal reducer adapter as well. So it's sort of a combination of both the wireless follow focus feature and the something similar to the Metabones or whatever that makes the image wider. So if you're on a crop sensor camera, you want to make it look more like full frame, then you can get this with the focal reducer. But this is the version without any glass in it. It's a nice solid connection, really feels really nice quality. On the back here, the mount that connects to the camera, I've undone the 4 screws here, and you need to be really careful if you're going to do this because these screws can get damaged very easily. And I turned the mount a little bit and then I put the screws back in. Only 2 screws are going to be able to go back in. Then you can connect it sideways. And so instead of connecting it that way, which causes a lot of problems because of the size of this thing at the bottom, which just makes it very difficult to actually connect this thing properly to any tripods or anything like that, it's doable but much more problematic. So now, when I've moved the mount, that now connects without any issues. It just makes it way easier to connect this up to basically anything. It's completely out of the way. Let's say, for example, you wanted to fly on a glide cam, but you wanted to actually do a focus move as well. So you would do something like this, and then you have your wireless controller. So you can either have someone else controlling the focus while you're flying this, or you can just have one person doing the focusing and the flying at the same time, which is why this thing comes ready connected to a clamp, and the clamp is removable. But the aim is that you could do something like this, where this becomes the handle of the stabilizer. Basically, you're going to have this connected to the handle, and you want to have it fairly close, or basically as close as you can get to the center, to the pole, without bumping into it, because it's going to make it easier on your arm to hold. And that's it. You're going to just fly it as usual, but with your other hand, you're going to be controlling the focus. So this is going to be a great option for those who want to use their Canon lenses with a lower budget wireless follow focus system. And because most wireless follow focus systems are either going to be really expensive or not work very well and be very bulky and slow to set up, compared to this, which is very quick to use. I mean, you could leave this connected to your glide cam and this on your camera, and you just change lenses as usual. So the things that I think could be improved here are, first of all, that the grip needs to be more grippy, so you can very easily fix that yourself. You just buy a piece of silicone from the local pound store or dollar store and just wrap that around here and connect it up somehow, with some zip ties or something or whatever. But basically just something to make this a little more grippy. So this comes as a kit with the handle and the wireless follow focus, some cables for charging and connecting to a computer. And that comes in this Pelly style case. The foam that came with this had a really bad smell to it, so I just threw the foam away, put my own foam in there. As far as I can tell, it's not a very fragile device, so I don't think this is necessary. I mean, you could just put this in your camera bag with your lenses, and then if you do get this, it's a fantastic case for other stuff. Now, with regards to actually getting focus with this thing, it's something that you're gonna wanna practice with. The dial here does have various levels of speed, so the further you push it, the faster it's gonna focus in that direction. But when you're feeling this here, there's nothing to tell you how fast you're moving just based on this. It's kind of hard to tell how much you're pressing it, especially when you're holding the device and you're being quite firm with it, at the same time trying to have very sort of precise control with your fingers. So it's something that does take practice, but is doable. So as you can see, that's focusing. We do have A and B controls here, which is very good, meaning basically hard stops or electronic hard stops. So you'd move to a certain point, you'd focus, and then you press the A, which marks that point. It won't go past that point. And then you focus a little more, and you press the B, and that's it. And then now you have this thing only focusing between A and B. It won't move between A and B automatically for you, but when you move this, it will reach A or reach B, and it will stop that. So that's very, very useful to have. And it's either if you want to just limit it, just for general use, you say, okay, I don't want it to focus too close, let's limit this a little bit. Or if you want to do a very specific shot and you want to say, okay, I want it to go exactly from here to exactly here, and then that's where this is, once again, very useful. Now, a very important point is, how does this compare to autofocus lenses? For my uses, autofocus lenses are easier to use and a little more compact. So for me, buying a Sony autofocus lens just makes a little bit more sense than to use this thing. However, A Sony autofocus lens just focuses where it wants to. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. That is useful and easy to use to have an autofocus lens, but for a lot of people, autofocus is a big no-no. So a lot of people will absolutely prefer this completely manual control. So basically, two different uses just depending on your preference. One more thing to mention is that with some lenses you might see a little bit of stepping in the focus motion, but not very bad, and most shots I was able to do without seeing any stepping in there. And maybe if you looked really close you might still see a bit of steps in the, sort of the motion of the focus, but mostly it works really well and just gives nice usable footage. I'm sorry I don't have much more information about what lenses this works best with, but it should work well with most STM lenses. So this thing is much cheaper than most wireless follow focus systems, and even though you're limited to only Canon lenses, for a lot of people that is perfectly fine since so many people use Canon lenses on Sony cameras and on Micro Four Thirds cameras. So a fantastic option if this is what you need. If you need a wireless follow focus, yeah, I think you'd be happy with this. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found this useful. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.